stream. I'm on the banks of the Manchester Ship Canal, and of course, because it's a canal in Manchester, we have a trolley down there. Wouldn't be a canal in Manchester without a trolley. Now, why am I here? Why am I stood by the banks of the Manchester Ship Canal with a compass in my hand? Well, it's all to do with these things that you can see in the background there. See those lines there? Those are power cables, overhead power cables. Just over in the distance, I'll see if I can show it to you, we have the Carrington Power Station, which is just there. You can just see the chimneys of it in the distance there. So that's Carrington Power Station there. The electricity generated there has to be distributed across the national grid in the power lines that you can see here. Now, in your science lessons, hopefully, your physics teacher has taught you that magnetism. You may even have been lucky enough that you have seen the teacher run a small current through a wire and bring a plotting compass close to it, and you'll see that the needle will move towards the wire. Well, I thought I'd show you that today on a much bigger scale. So I've got a silver compass here, made by probably the most reliable manufacturing company there is for compasses, and it's pointing to north. You can see the red line is always pointing north, no matter how I move the compass, it points north. So if I line up this white bit here, this is called the bezel. If I line that up there, that bezel won't move even if I change the direction, and we can always know which way is north, and in our case north is pointing across the Manchester Ship Canal. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk towards those power lines. So if I turn around now, and I'll move the compass around so you can clearly see which direction north is. There's north pointing behind me across the Manchester Ship Canal towards a place called Earlham, and I'm going to walk now towards those power lines that you can see, and as I walk closer you'll notice, you might be able to hear the hum of the current flowing through. And again, I'm going to try and keep my compass orientated so you can see it pointing towards north, but even so, pointing my front of my compass towards the Manchester Ship Canal, which is in the north direction, I haven't gone far, and you can see that that needle is being moved quite significantly already. Now it's going to take me a minute just to walk towards these cables, but just look at that. Already the compass is picking up the magnetic field of those great big power lines. See how it's being pulled closer and closer. So here we are, we're getting closer now. You can see the cables up ahead, about another 20 metres, and already north, which is, I've kept the compass pointing towards north, but the needle now is almost 90 degrees, being pulled away from the Earth's magnetic field, and it's being pulled towards the magnetic field generated in these power lines that you can see up here. So I'm nearly underneath them now. Oh, look at that, I can actually see some comments. Thank you, Vidakar, wow, Turikio, cool, that's absolutely amazing. Now look at this, we're almost directly underneath these cables. These cables are carrying 400,000 volts worth of electricity. That's generating a massive current. And again, north is off to my left, but yet the magnetic field of that compass is being pulled almost directly, pointing towards the cables there. You see that? Look at that. So that small little experiment you may have seen in your classroom On a much larger scale here, this is how electricity is delivered to homes throughout the national grid. And it also proves to you that when you have current flowing in a wire, and in this case a massive cut voltage, massive current, it will generate a magnetic field. Electricity and magnetism are linked. So I'm just going to switch this around so you can see me. So I'll just point that out again to you. North is in that direction. The Manchester Ship Canal is over there. That's north. Directly overhead, you can see the cables of the electricity pylons carrying all the electricity to everybody's homes. And if I hold up the compass again, you can see that although north is that way, this compass is pointing towards those wires above my head. And if you listen carefully, you can even hear the crackle of the static electricity. I can feel it on my fingers and on my hair a little bit. So thank you very much for all of those comments. I hope you've enjoyed this little video. I think I'll keep it going and I'll walk away now. And then you can see that compass will stop pointing towards the wires and it will go back to pointing towards the Earth's magnetic field. But at the moment you can still see it's pointing directly behind me, even though I'm walking towards the north. And that red line should slowly begin to point back towards the camera as we go closer and further away from the magnetic field, closer to the ship canal again. And that magnetic field that's generated by that huge voltage, as I say, 400 kilovolts, 400,000 volts, still it's a massive magnetic field. I mean, I've walked maybe 20 meters already and it's still pulling the needle of that compass. But as we go back, it will gradually move the compass back into line with the Earth's magnetic field. And for those of you who don't know, the Earth's magnetic field is generated by our spinning molten iron core inside the planet. Iron, of course, is magnetic, and being molten at that point and spinning, all the little iron atoms are pointing in the same direction, pretty much creating that magnetic field. It's very important, actually. It keeps us safe from the sun's solar winds, keeps our atmosphere in place on our planet. Alright, so I'm nearly back where we began, and you can see that the compass is pretty much back to pointing. Let's see if I can show you this again. There we go. So that compass is back to pointing towards the canal now, and the canal is dead ahead in front of me. In fact, if I change the camera, so there's the compass, there is the north. I'll just give that, there we go, and ahead that is the ship canal, and we're not far off where we were previously. There is a little bit of deviation, and that's because that huge magnetic field has had a slight influence on the magnetic compass needle in my compass. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you very much for all of you that were watching.